Mhm.
Hi everybody, I'm intuitive medium Sandy Duncan here with my genius rescue medium friends, Jackie Dennison, Alison Wynne-Ryder, Edna Dargie, and Michael Lamport. Hello.
Hi,
Hi,
Sandy.
Sandy.
We're reunited and it feels so good, doesn't it? This is
Yeah,
great. I was looking
yeah,
forward to seeing everybody.
yeah.
this
It is good.
Yeah. So this time I'm very excited because I'm always excited, as you come to know. But this time we're talking about helper spirits and their influence on a rescue that you had done. But I have a really, really quick question just to start off with, because people probably know the episode already by the time they get here to watch. If someone was a real helper in the physical world, whether that be maybe they were a crossing guard, or maybe they were a nurse, or they were a doctor, or a stewardess, I don't know. Are they likely to be a helper on the other side?
I would say
Not
so.
necessarily. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sort of
Wow.
part of me is thinking not necessarily, but it just depends because helpers in spirit weren't necessarily those type of helpers on the earth plane, but that doesn't mean to say that they can't be,
Okay.
you know?
Yeah, I think it depends on the personality
Yeah,
of
absolutely.
that person and what they want to. And I know from what I've experienced with guide energies, you know, and if I've been doing like a spirit portrait for someone, then a lot of times that person has been healing in some form when they were on the earth plane, but not, as Alison says, not necessarily in a healing profession, but maybe someone who gave a lot of their time to other people, you know, have a good listening ear. So they've been a good friend or a confidant, you know, or it could be that someone who absolutely loves animals when they were on the earth plane and they looked after animals, and that's you know, a healing element to them. So therefore, when they get over there, they carry that on, but it may be in a different sense. So healing's a huge umbrella, isn't it? Really?
Well, it is.
No, I agree. And I mean, that's a fantastic question, Sandy. Like, if you were a helper on Earth in your mortal coil, are you a helper later? And maybe you are. And I think obviously Jackie and Alison are right. And maybe you're not. It just so interesting because we like to think that we will continue in the way we have practiced our life on Earth in the spiritual plane. Yeah, I think people like to believe that.
Yeah.
I mean, well, about this episode. So you found yourselves in King City, and this was a museum filled with hundreds, thousands of artifacts to do a spirit rescue, because the ladies who worked there were experiencing all kinds of issues. Like my mind just goes like right off the bat, it's a museum as opposed to someone's private home or a venue that would have fewer things in it. Michael and Edna, when you went to interview the people, was it kind of overwhelming? Do you recall, because of the energy of all of the objects?
Edna should be the one to answer that better than I.
Okay, so when I'm going to visit a place like a museum with all of the artifacts and buildings, in this case, I know that there could be many, many reasons for why they're experiencing the spirit activity that they are. And it could be because of the artifacts that have been gathered there, or it can also be, in this case, the buildings were moved there from other locations. So it can even be from where these buildings originally sat. So I knew walking in on this one that there, my gosh, a multitude of different directions it could go in. But the good thing is that it being a museum, the curator and the people working there have got a tremendous background of the history of everything. So from my point of view, to access that, it's wonderful. So I just really have to wait to see what Jackie and Alison come up with, and then try to find the matches in the information.
Yeah, it was fascinating, wasn't it? Because I mean, I remember, as you do, Edna, going there and going inside the main entrance type thing. I mean, it's all different buildings, and then walking down the street to the church, which, as you say, was transported from elsewhere, and then down to the railway station. They were all sort of, to me, they were all sort of like really significant, yet and very different points in history that were brought in to the same place. So it was fascinating, yeah.
This week, the rescue mediums visit a museum in King City, where the artifacts may hold more than just history.
We heard in this episode, the ladies that work there, who obviously were very experienced, say they thought they were losing their mind. They thought they were imagining these things a lot, and it was putting them on edge. I mean, you must hear that question all the time, I imagine. How do people know if they're going crazy or if it's real?
Difficult one, isn't it? Because there's a very fine line.
Yeah, very. Yeah.
I think that's why our job is so rewarding, or one of the reasons why it's so rewarding is we can actually put their mind at rest, knowing that others are experiencing the same thing, and we're only frightened of things we don't understand. So if we can unravel all the story, unravel why they're experiencing things and make sense out of it, then that takes that fear factor out. And we always hope as well with what we do is that we can share our experiences with the homeowners or with, you know, whoever is in the property, so that they know how they can deal with it themselves. You know, that
yeah. And I think also, you know, it wasn't just one of the ladies that was experiencing what was going on.
Like a dog or an animal growling. Working here alone, and I turned around and I thought I saw something standing in that doorway there.
It was fascinating because part of this episode held a chapel on the premises. And I remember watching you two walk in, and Jackie, you immediately picked up on a man who was preaching.
The rescue mediums are taken to this nearby chapel, perfectly preserved, but no longer used for worship.
Church! It smells really, really, really musty, doesn't it?
Doesn't it just?
It smells strange, doesn't it?
I can't breathe in it properly.
The rescue mediums are enveloped by a strange psychic energy.
But it seemed that he was preaching in kind of an aggressive way. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He would. I think the words I used were, he's preaching hell and damnation.
Yeah.
I've got an image of the door just crashing open. Alison, did you hear that?
I heard a growling noise. I didn't see anything. What?
This pew in front of us. I saw some. There.
The dark spirit returns.
This man is preaching hell and damnation.
Really?
Yes.
That was it. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? That was quite odd, really, because you walk into a chapel or a church and you expect the feeling to be sort of really lovely and, you know, the energy very, very nice because of its purpose. But in that instance, you could feel the energy was lovely, but then boom, his energy sort of hit you really, you know.
I said, somebody, when anyone walks past the window and they look in, they can see people.
Yeah. I always end up seeing things in the church.
What do you say?
It looks like people are sitting in there. Yeah.
I think that somebody's seen somebody in here from the window.
But you saw him. He was in the pew in front of you, wasn't he?
In the pews, he was a few in front.
I think he was right in front of you.
Was he? Sat in
He
front.
was in the pew right in front.
Well, back in those days, it's so interesting too, because I imagine that fire and brimstone was one of the key points of many preachers.
Oh,
They would just
possibly.
try to get their congregation fired up about something. So
Yeah. He was annoyed. Wasn't he annoyed because it wasn't his congregation?
That's it. That's what I was
because and that was sort of like the the crux of it, really.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So if we got him to go over, maybe they would just go through.
The rescue mediums believed that the agitated spirit was one Dr. Rankin, who during the 1800s preached in a neighboring church. Jackie and Alison believed that the spirit's anger was the result of the spirit being trapped within a congregation not his own.
Okay.
But he was with you because I couldn't. It felt odd in there and all through the building, but I couldn't feel his energies like you could. But
I tell you what I like about that rescue as well. When we sat in the pews and we got that angry man there, we brought the light in through the window, didn't we?
Yeah, you could see rays of light coming in.
You could see it.
To see lines of light coming in like
the
that.
lines.
They're coming in. It's like, like shafts of sunlight coming in like that.
That's where he needs to go.
And once he'd gone through, everybody started going through, and it's like, okay, our job's done now. We can go.
It's like
home.
rent a crowd. It was like rent a spirit crowd.
Rent a goat.
Through the portal.
And as the spirit of the guy at the train station, I had a heck of a time trying to get them to pay for their tickets. It just went right through me.
Oh, yeah. But the lady, we both experienced her. She was tapping you on the shoulder, trying to, going to.
Oh, yeah.
And I think I'm pretty sure it was her that was holding my hand.
Somebody's holding my hand.
Yeah. Oh. I've got somebody going like this. This lady, it's like, okay, you've seen it, move. She's very stern. She's very stern.
When we were in the cellar, all the lights went off or flickered or something, didn't they? And you could hear the electrical, it was like, and it was just all very odd.
This is it, isn't it?
This is it.
Well, I've been sent down here then.
The lady brought us down here.
And nobody would say no to her, would they?
No. No.
If she was an army.
But Edna's right. I mean, everything had been moved, to that museum, and it was such an interesting place.
Yeah.
But then we had three spirits, that were sort of, hanging around, for want of a better word. And two ended up being wonderful helpers.
They were the helpers, yeah. The lady was tapping on the shoulder, and I think had Laura experienced that as well. She felt somebody tapping her or pushing her very gently.
She was sort of pushing us from behind. She was doing sort of this behind me. And have you experienced that?
Like tapping on my shoulder.
Really?
Yeah. She was lovely, that lady spirit. And then there was the gentleman as well, and he was walking with his hands behind his back.
That's it. You were doing that. Yeah.
Somebody stood over there watching us.
Are they?
Got a gentleman here now. It's just like he would just walk about, like,
Oh, is that how he's walking?
But he's got a bit of a... It's like that.
Yeah. And wasn't she the principal of the school, and he was one of the teachers, the two helpers?
Right. Yeah.
She was
right.
And then you got the name Elizabeth, that was her name.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Straight away a lady came to us and the name of Elizabeth was given. I've got the name of Elizabeth. Okay. She was very much in charge, very much in control.
The rescue mediums believed that the spirit was named Elizabeth Tinline. She was a teacher at the King City Schoolhouse starting in 1867, eventually becoming the school's principal before her departure in 1880. The ladies believed that the female spirit was responsible for guiding them to the church.
Edna, didn't we have on the premonitions teaching or a school or something like that?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
You said that.
Yeah, and that's the connection with those two. But hadn't that building been a school, though?
Yes, it had been. I believe, right, Edna? Yeah.
Oh, not the church.
No,
but the building, the main building.
The building, yes. Yes, it had been.
Yeah.
It had been.
School and teaching. This was a school. Teaching school.
What's interesting is that Walter Rowling, he had, it was later that he was teaching at the school, but he had been a pupil of Miss Tinline. So that was their connection in time.
Yeah.
I'd
forgotten that.
Was that mentioned at the time, Edna? I don't remember. I know either that or I've forgotten. But I didn't know that he'd been a pupil of hers and then he became a teacher himself.
That's right.
Wow.
He was a chap by the name of Walter Rowlings.
Like the spirit of Elizabeth Tinline, Walter Rowling was also a teacher at the King City Schoolhouse. Starting in 1895, he stayed at the school for over 40 years. He was one of the first Afro-Canadian teachers in the country. This historical photograph of Walter Rowling is uncannily similar to Jackie's psychic drawing.
He was so well respected.
Yeah, he was really loved by everybody. And all the stories we've heard, anecdotes about him, he just sounded like a gentle, kind person.
So one of the first Afro-Canadian teachers in the country.
Yeah.
He was quite a man of distinction as well.
Mm-hmm.
Phenomenal.
He was lovely. His energy was really lovely to work with. Yeah.
Here's another, I'm not sure if this will show up, but that's also a photo of Walter Rowling.
Oh,
wow.
Look at him.
I love that.
Yeah. I do too. Very smart. Oh, he's got his hands behind his back in that photograph.
Yes, that's right. He does, doesn't he?
Yeah, there you go.
So you had a doctor who was trapped without his congregation and came across a bit aggressively, and then you had two people there helping. Not just him, correct? Other spirits were crossed over as well.
Yeah, it was more or less the people that were sitting there in the pews. That
I seem to remember that there was a lot of people coming into the pews. It's a continual thing. It's like Elizabeth guides them, and he sort of rounds them up, and then they help them through the church.
The gentleman's spirit earlier met appears.
He's bringing them in.
Oh, them? Who's he bringing?
He's bringing them in through this door.
Okay.
He's going like this, and he's showing everybody to the seats. He gathers new ones.
God, just said make way for more now.
What we did with the church film, this doesn't always show on camera because obviously we haven't got enough time to show everything. But whenever we come across a portal or we create one for that purpose, it was already created in that on that occasion, is that we have helpers in spirit who look after that portal. So spirit can't come out from it, they go into it. So lost souls go through the door and then that's closed behind them. And then they get the help on the other side then. So we always make sure we do a clean up, Alison, don't we? Afterwards, we clear everything up, make sure that the portal is well and truly looked after, or that, you know, if we're in a building, that we put lights throughout the building just to make sure that there's nothing else that needs, you know, looking at, nobody else that needs our help.
Well, in nearly every show that we've done, I believe, when you've found a portal, you guys have like closed it at the end
Yeah.
because, you know, I don't think it's because, oh my God, what scary is going to come out of it.
Yeah.
It's just that it's almost like a way of peace. It's like, you're through now. You will now be helped.
Yeah.
You don't need to come back.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
that's when we close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, that's when we close a portal that has already been opened, that we don't need the doorway to open and close to allow more through. It needs to be closed because of it upsetting the vibrations in the home or whatever. So therefore we would then close it. But in that case with the museum, we left the portal there, but we made sure, you know, it had got our doorkeepers there, or the doorkeepers to that portal to, you know, oversee everything.
To help us.
Make it safe. Yeah.
And we said to the ladies as well at the end that, you know, they will still hear bangs, or there will still be, you know, like knocks and things. But
our lovely helpers, who were the lady and the man with their hands behind his back, gatherers, they gather lost souls.
They're working together.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We're happy it's him. Oh, we're so happy. Yeah.
They will gather them. They take them through to the church and they gather them there, and they're just a little bit lost. They don't quite know where to go, so they're pointed in the right direction. So you will still hear the noises, but there's nothing to be scared of, because these are helpers who want to help you doing your job. They want to keep anything away from you and just going about their business. So that was all happening in your little environment here.
Well, maybe a lot of the people that came in, maybe they were on a spirit train that went to the train station that you also investigated.
Oh, yeah.
And they got off the train and said, oh, let's go to the church.
I loved that. I loved that train station. That was amazing.
It was.
It really was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was another building that had been bought there. You know, part of the museum was literally not just a museum there. The pieces were museum.
Yeah.
And you know, you're absolutely right though, Michael, because there's spirit energy that's attached to those different buildings.
Yeah.
That were then waiting outside the church to, you know, it's like, where do I go now? I've got off now. Where do I go now?
Yeah.
You know, what happens now? And trying to find the light, you would automatically go to a church to, you know, to get help, or, you know, in the first instance. And there's this angry preacher going, no, you're not on my congregation, get out, and shutting the doors on them, you know. So no wonder they were all waiting, queuing up.
Yeah, and they're going, well, I'd like to get out, but I don't have a bloody return ticket. I have to stay here.
I don't know what was the matter with me with this one. I didn't pick up on, you know, like you were picking up on the school and all of that, Jackie, and you were picking up on, you know, somebody hanging around, which they said that they saw somebody by the door, I think Heather said. Yeah. I was getting the names. So I got the names of the ladies that were there. Yeah. And what was Emmanuel? I remember getting Emmanuel, but I can't remember what that was. I know it was linked.
No, Emmanuel.
When we saw that on the list, we thought, oh, we know exactly what you're talking about.
And Emmanuel.
Oh,
okay.
Amazing that you did Emmanuel, because it's not a common name or anything.
Renamed the King Emmanuel Baptist Church, this chapel was built around 1849. Years later, it was relocated to its current location on the museum's property.
But I was getting names rather than, you know, what.
Yeah, but that's all part of the jigsaw. That's how it works.
What a team, no.
Yeah, I know.
I love it. I love the synchronicity because obviously when we do our premonitions, we're in completely different, you know, places. And I love the synchronicity where, you know, we join, or sometimes we will get the same thing. But this was so different, you know, you were picking up on, you know, what was going on. So the physical stuff that was going on. And I was picking up on names and stuff. Yeah.
Teaching, school, connection.
Laura.
Feeling as if being touched.
All of a sudden I felt someone tapping me on the back. I turned behind me and no one was there. the name Heather.
Unexplained noises and feeling very uneasy.
I have heard my name called on 2 occasions. It was just a bit worrisome. It was a bit urgent, sharply like calling out my name, like warning me about something.
Doors slamming. A cold feeling that actually makes the hair stand up on the back of your neck.
You would always think that someone had come in the door.
Well, to the point that you'd even feel a cold
like
breeze.
a breeze, yeah. You would hear the noise, you'd feel the breeze, and then we would go to investigate and look, and
Door shut.
Door shut.
Yeah.
There was
All of it was key.
There was something else, Alison, that you got, and it leads into some incredible synchronicity that didn't make the show.
Oh,
Remember, you did a sketch, and there was a path, and there were houses with the numbers 4 and 6 on them.
right.
Well, the numbers 4 and 6 kept playing out on the show over and over again. When you sat in the church and you grabbed the Bible, I think, Jackie, maybe you did, and you opened it up to Numbers 26, verse 4, 6.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yes.
Also, the location was Lot 6, Concession 4.
Oh,
Flipping heck.
When you sat in the church, there were 3 rows of pews. The row that you picked, the set that you picked, you sat in the 5th row. And 4 rows from the front was the man. 4 rows from the back were the children. 6 rows from the front were the children. And 6 rows from the back were the man. So if you sat in the other 2 sets of pews, it wouldn't have worked because there were only 8 or 9 rows.
Yeah.
Right.
Minor, but a little.
that's amazing.
That is synchronicity, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Got tingles.
I'll ask the producer, why the hell didn't that get into the show? This is fascinating.
You have a word with him, Michael.
I
would do
will.
that with you.
Yes.
That was
I made
you.
a special note.
That is fascinating, that
It
numerology.
is. Wow.
Yeah, I made a special note about it to include into the package, but again, in the 22 minutes, they just can't put in everything.
Yeah.
It's not
Exactly.
part of the story, but it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
I think that's astounding.
Yeah, it is. Go
Spirit
back.
It is.
are amazing, though, aren't they, Jackie?
It's what?
Spirit are amazing.
They are. They
On all
are.
levels.
Yeah. See, these are all clues, you know,
Yeah.
they're all little clues that help Edna to piece it all together,
Yeah.
so that she knows who it is we're communicating with.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We
yeah.
we figure out why, and then Edna figures out who.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then as the producer, I instruct my editors to put the show together and leave out one of the most important aspects that Edna has just pointed out about numerology. So I am the spanner in the works, I think.
You're the ex-producer now, Michael.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Oh,
Edna, how did it feel for you when all of the information started coming through in the way that it did as we were walking around? Did that start slotting into place for you with information you'd already got, or did you pull it together afterwards?
Yeah, I think it started coming in early.
Yeah.
Because of the names and the premonitions, the sketches. It made sense that perhaps these could be some of the people involved.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a very good one for that.
That must take a load off your mind, Edna, you know, when it sort of starts coming in and then you get that confirmation that yes, it is what you're actually thinking and it's going in that direction. It's when it goes, you know, which
Exactly.
has how, yeah, I know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
It just
when it works right, those are Edna's spirit helpers. They are
Yeah.
people going like, okay, this is information. Here it is. Blah blah blah, and she connects with that for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Curious, because the buildings were moved to this location from somewhere else.
Mm.
Is there something specific about that part of land or that plot of land that would have been conducive to those buildings going there? Because quite often, Edna, you point out, you know, the house, for example, is situated on land where one of the spirits, you know, owned land previously close to there, that kind of a way. Was there a tie to where the buildings were moved to from any of the spirits?
I'm trying to recall whether that actual church, Dr. James Rankin, who was rescued, he was a minister on circuit, and he did go to that church, I guess in its previous location. I think with the school too, there were real connections with Walter Rawling and Elizabeth.
Right.
So they were all connected to those, even if like that church had been located somewhere else, but James Rankin had gone to that church somewhere else.
Right. So it was building specific. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. You know what, though? You've got to sort of think about, you know, that they're all organizing all of us. So upstairs are probably saying, right, that building needs to be moved. Let's move that over to that museum there, because we've got a whole load of people that go with that building. They need moving, they need shifting. We'll put a signpost in place anyway, so they, you know, we know where it's gone to. Let's take the railway and move that as well. And it's like everything's been placed there for a reason. And I'm sure that spirit are the ones that go, this is where the help is needed. Let's move that to that location. And they put.
And let's get Jackie and Alison over from the UK to come over and help the whole lot.
Yeah.
And then someday in 2022, they'll be talking about us. They'll be talking about
exactly.
There you go.
And at the end of that show, as I recall, we did the cheers in the railway station.
Yeah,
we did.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so funny. That was so funny because you had us. This is how Michael's mind, incredible mind, worked. He wanted us to do a cheers, but he wanted it in reverse. He wanted us, the cheers, to be with invisible glasses.
Yeah.
So we had to, you could even hear when we did the cheers and clinked. You could hear the clink. And then we go, cheers. And then we just burst out laughing because it's just so funny.
Bye. Thirsting for one more spirit, the rescue mediums make a final whistle stop. The museum's historical railway station.
I really enjoyed this one.
I did as well. I've seen a few spirits. I'll talk about spirits. Thank you.
Cheers.
That's because it was hilarious.
We put the clink in, obviously, in the edit afterwards.
Because you were the ghost.
Like that.
Yes. You were the ghost. You played the ghost, giving us the glasses.
Yes.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved that one.
And on that note, we should have a cheers.
Yes.
Yeah.
As the railway station ghost, I actually have a real glass now, not a fake one.
I expected you to hold up an invisible glass, Michael.
Cheers.
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 Thank you.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, everybody.
And just before we go, because this is the end of this episode, I would like to just say something to the viewers about the situation as we're recording this. I think it's like day 32 or maybe 33 of the invasion of Ukraine by Russia. And any of our viewers, whether you are religious or spiritual or even not, if you could just put a thought out to the universe to help the women, men, and children of Ukraine during this really terrible time, and it is happening all over the world in different places, and also to the normal, living, regular people of Russia, because this situation, I think, and I speak on behalf of Rescue Mediums, is absolutely appalling. And I think if we all just try to think of some positive thing to put out there to the universe, as they say in the Desiderata, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. And let's hope it does, because the people of Ukraine, and I think the young soldiers of Russia, they all need our help. Anyway, that's the only political statement I will ever make, except that in my cheers, the vodka in it is actually a Canadian vodka, not a Russian one.
Good for you. That deserves another cheers.
Na zdrowie.
Cheers. If you enjoyed watching Behind the Scenes, please like, share and subscribe to veryparanormal.com, the portal for everything paranormal, where you can watch every episode of Behind the Scenes and every episode of Rescue Mediums, plus so much more. And it's absolutely free. Well, you can't get much better than that. Cheers.